Our theme this morning is all about self-care, and we're going to kind of revisit the themes that we've had so far and the poses that we've had so far, some of them. So you'll have a little bit of confidence, hopefully, as we approach today's practice. And when you hear self-care, so often the technique is to go on vacation or get a massage or whatever. And those aren't things that are available, right? So, and it's don't stress, don't worry about that. Relax. Like these words just don't mean, aren't practical advice at all. But there are resources that you can use, not necessarily to reduce your stress. It's not going to be like all of a sudden the stress is not going to be there, but maybe perhaps you can be more resilient to the situations that are coming at you. And I'm going to let someone in. Okay. So the resources that we've been talking about so far, and they work for a large number of people, not necessarily everyone, are your breath, orienting, grounding, centering, and rhythm. And so we're going to explore all of those today. And let's start on the mat, lying down. I would recommend with your knees bent. It's a little bit easier on your back. And then just start to check in. Check in with your breath. And notice the movement of your body as you breathe. And breath and rhythm as resources are definitely intertwined. Notice all the places that your body is connected to the ground. And maybe you can sink into the ground just a little bit more. Let the ground hold you. When we talked about breath, we know that it is a stimulant of the parasympathetic nervous system if you can have deep, long breaths, which is the rest response. But if it triggers the fight or flight response for you, then obviously please don't focus on that. That might not be a resource that works for you. And find another thing to anchor on, maybe something to look at, a sound, your feet. And when you're ready, kindly and gently come up to sitting. I'm going to go over here for a sec. And sit comfortably in a way that you can sit tall. And then look around the room. Maybe see if you can find something blue. And notice all of your senses. Maybe focus on sounds near and far. Or the temperature of the room. Or your connection to the ground. Maybe look around the room and find something pleasant to look at. And from here, we're going to just move through all of your joints. And the way we're going to do it today is to emphasize the rhythm of your movements. So let's start with shoulder rolls. And switch directions. And rhythm can be slow or fast. And if you're using it with your breath, then it's usually slow. Okay, and then we're going to do neck nods. And again, you have an opportunity to link it with your breath, but you don't have to. And one more set. And then come to neutral, and we'll do side bends and try to make it really rhythmic. So if you have it with breath, inhale tall and exhale to one side, and inhale tall and exhale to the other side. I'm going to check your chat because I don't know what you're saying. Oh, your mics. Okay, that's fine. And then we'll do neck twists. So again, if you're linking it with breath, inhale tall and exhale, look over one shoulder. Inhale tall and neutral, exhale the other shoulder. And do it again. And come to neutral. Then we'll start with fingers, or move to fingers. Wrists, both directions. Elbows, and shoulders. So swim forward. And backstroke. And breaststroke. And I'm going to stand up, but you don't have to. I just want to be able to see my feet. The next one is just lifting your toes and scrunching them. So not lifting your feet yet, just your toes. And then rocking back and forth on your feet, so balls of your feet and heels. And then I'm going to sit down for the next one, which is ankles. Switch directions. One knee, the other knee, and windshield wiper your knees. And then come on up to sitting tall for last little movement, and it's big hip circles or torso circles. And then switch directions. And come to neutral, sitting tall again. Maybe notice your breath. Notice your connection to the ground. Notice the muscles in your core that you have to engage to hold your torso upright. And then let's go ahead and come on to all fours for tabletop. And then really try to glue your hands into the ground. Try to have gecko hands gripping into the ground. And then notice, try to grip with your knees and the tops of your feet. And also try not to be slouchy and push out. Hello? Okay, I'm doing a class right now, so thank you. Some guys spraying for spiders. Okay, here we go. So right leg out, left leg up. And notice the core muscles that you have to engage to hold your leg and arm up. And then try 3 windshield wipers and see of your arm and your leg and see what else has to engage to do that. And go ahead and come on down. And then let's switch sides. So left leg out, and if you can, add your right arm. And then 3 windshield wipers. And come back to all fours. Go ahead and stand up on your knees, and we'll do a low lunge starting with our right foot forward. Just a warm up. If you need a wall or a block, please use those, or something underneath your knee. And then rock back. Thank you. For a hamstring stretch. And then we're gonna make it into a rhythm. So lean, on your inhale, come forward, and on your exhale, rock back. And if you want to add arms up as you lean forward, and cactus or goalpost as you rock back. And one more. And then we'll switch sides. So left leg's forward, lean into your lunge. Use supports if you need to. And then go ahead and rock back for a hamstring stretch. If this isn't doing anything, you can lean forward. For some of us, this is plenty. And then we're going to add rhythm. So inhale, lean forward. Exhale, rock back. Inhale forward. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, rock back. And good job. Okay, so we're going to do our first down dog of the day. So start from tabletop, tuck your toes, shoot your hips to the sky for down dog. I recommend a strong bend in your knees so that you can have that long spine and that tilt of your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Pop your booty. And you're welcome to shift your weight from left to right to start to stretch that back body. And then go ahead and walk your hands back to your feet for our first forward fold. Again, you're welcome to have a nice bend in your knees. If you need to tuck your belly in a different place or have a wider stance, make room for your belly, please do. If you need a block or a chair to lean on, please do. Notice your connection with the ground. Notice your perspective as we hang upside down. And then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, come up to standing for mountain. So check in with your mountain. Notice your connection with the ground. See if you can use your core to help you stand tall. Notice your breathing. And from here, we're going to do a sun salutation. So I'll lead the first one. On your next inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, go through hands to knees to plank and lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then I'm going to walk my hands back for flat back or half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up, arms up. Exhale, mountain. I'd like you to do that 2 more times at your own pace. That was one of our flip grids to do a sun salutation. I'll do them as well, so if you're not as confident about it, watch and do it with me. But if you are confident about it and can have it be one breath, one movement, then allow your breath to guide you and make it into a flowy dance. Okay. So from here, we're going to go take a giant step forward with our right foot for crescent. So crescent is a standing lunge where you're on your back toes. And remember, you can use a wall if you need to. A chair is a great support, or you can be sitting in the chair and have it under your knees, or just be using your arms, whatever works for you in your crescent. One arm, zibby arms up here. And then we're going to drop the back foot, which automatically starts to open our torso towards this direction, but we're going to forcibly twist our torsos towards the front and add arms or use your supports for warrior one. So the only difference between warrior one and crescent is the orientation of the back foot, but makes a big difference in your standing. One more inhale here, and then bring your arms out to a T, so your torso is parallel with the long side of your mat. And this is warrior two. If it's easier to drop into that front knee, you might need to wiggle your toe out a little bit or back up your heel a little bit to give you a little bit more space in warrior two. You could be using a wall, your chair, or sitting on the chair with the chair underneath your leg. And then straighten your leg, and what we're going to do is just switch our feet position to point this direction. So my left foot is parallel with the long side of my mat, now in this direction, and then I'm going to turn to pop up on that back foot for crescent on this side. And a couple breaths here. Again, welcome to use whatever you've got available to make this your crescent and have the sense of being a half moon or a crescent moon. And then drop that back foot. It's kind of at an angle towards the corner for me. And then twisting my shoulders so that they're parallel with the short side of my mat and adding my arms, if I feel like it, for warrior one. Every inhale is reach up a little bit more, and every exhale is check in with your foundation and maybe pull your legs together energetically. Super strong root to rise. One more inhale here and exhale, warrior one. Again, watch out if you're going past and you can't see your big toe anymore, then you back out a little bit or adjust your stance. And where are you looking? Are you looking at the camera? Are you looking at your fingertips? Looking at the other fingertips? Just be aware of where you're choosing to look at this particular moment. And then go ahead and straighten that front leg. And again, rotate that foot. So now my feet are parallel to each other, and even a little bit, my big toe is a little bit inside from my ankle. And we're going to do a wide leg forward fold from here. So inhale tall, and then from my hip crease, falling over. You're welcome to dangle from a chair or use your blocks to make the ground a little bit closer, or if the ground's, if you can stick your hands on the ground, go ahead and do that with your fingertips or palms. And try to internally rotate your legs. Notice where the weight of your body is and see if you can shift it to be evenly distributed in the between the heels and the balls of the feet, or even slightly into the balls of your feet as opposed to only in your heels. Strong legs, pulling them together, engaging all of your leg muscles. And then come up halfway, bring your hands to your hips, and we're gonna switch arm positions. So grab either your hands behind you or your elbows and go back into forward fold in whatever hand or arm grip is good for you for a shoulder stretch. And you could be doing this while sitting on a chair. Then again, come up halfway, release your hands and put your hands on your hips and take a breath or two here to let your blood reorient. And then when you're ready, come on up to standing again. And just kind of check in. Don't want anybody falling over. We're going to go do a couple more standing poses before we come down to the mat. And the first is triangle. So again, I'm going to pivot my right foot so it's parallel with the long way of my mat and twist my left foot in a little bit more. This triangle, you keep your both legs straight, but be careful not to lock out this front knee, particularly if you have a tendency to hyperextend. So we do the same arms as we did for Warrior One. We just teeter over to triangle. And you have the option of grabbing your shin, your big toe, a block, or a chair, or sitting on a chair, whatever you're choosing. Reach up with the top hand and really push into whatever your bottom hand is on, so that, and try not to slouch into bringing your shoulder towards your ears. And we're going to do extended triangle by twisting the palm of my hand towards the front of my mat and then bringing my arm over my head for a really more intense side stretch. Again, be careful about locking out that front knee and see if you can twist your torso even a little bit more towards the sky. And our last bit on this is a challenge, and I call it flying triangle, where you're going to bring your right arm parallel-ish, or in Superman next to your left one. Whee! And then come on up. Good job. Flying triangle. And now we're going to switch sides. So that starts with feet switching. Left foot parallel with the long way of your mat, and your right foot bent in a little bit. Straight arms, straight legs. And woo. Try to be bending from your hip joint as opposed to your waist. Try to keep your waist so that both sides are almost the same length. Try to twist towards the ceiling, pressing into the ground, gripping with your feet, scissoring your legs together. Then turn the palm of this hand towards the new front of your mat and bring it overhead for extended triangle. And if you're up for it, let go of your left hand and bring it up for Superman. Whee! And come on up. Awesome job. Switch feet position again. Now we're going to combine both of those poses for side angle. So side angle, we come back into a lunge position. And you have options for what to do with this front arm. Sometimes the easiest is just to put the front elbow on your thigh and stack your shoulders. But if you want to have the T formation or use a chair or use a block, or if wrapping is in your practice, go ahead and wrap. Whatever is right for you. And again, you can do this while sitting on a chair. And then twist your palm so it's facing towards the front of the mat. Bring it overhead for extended side angle. And you'll notice that a long stretch from your fingertips all the way out to the heel of your foot. And then one more challenge, which is bringing your right arm up. And then go ahead and come on up. Good job. And switch your feet position again. Drop into your lunge. I need to wiggle out a little bit more. Drop into your lunge, either your forearm on your thigh or on a block or grabbing a toe or wrapping or grabbing a chair or sitting on a chair. Whatever option is where you're at right now, right? Reach for the sky, push out from the bottom, whatever surface you're touching. Strong in through the shoulder and neck area. And then twist that palm towards the new front of our mat. Bring your arm up over towards your ear. And keep breathing. Notice the quality of your breath in a more challenged situation. Maybe notice how the left side is different from the right. And go ahead and add the left hand parallel-ish. Superman. Come on up. Good job. Let's go feet together. Whew. Great job. Back to mountain. Check in with your mountain after all those pretty intensive leg stretches. Someone's coming. And let's forward fold again. So I'm going to bring my arms up for a stretch. And then forward fold. We'll be here for a couple breaths. Notice how this forward fold is different from the one that we started with. Maybe internally rotate both of your thighs, your femur bones, to let your booty pop a little bit more. Use whatever supports you need to bring the ground closer to your hands, and see if you can shake your head a little bit and see if you can let your head dangle. Oh. Now we're going to come down to our mats and do a few sitting poses. Let's start with what's called staff pose, where you try to make a 90-degree angle with your torso. And to help you push into your torso, you want to engage your legs. And what does that mean? You want your toes pointed up towards the sky. You press into your heel, press into your calf, and press into your thigh. If you want to or need to, you can move your flesh out of the way to help ground a little bit more, or have that contact with your sit bones to the ground. And then as you push down, you can try to use your core to keep your torsos tall. And then add arms straight up. Inhale, reach, and exhale, lean forward and grab what you've got. Today I have a scarf as a strap. Use a strap. If you want to, have your legs a little bit wider and move stuff out of the way so that you can get down a little bit further. Notice the quality of your breath and a forward fold. And then come on up, and we're going to go into butterfly. So when we were doing the restorative, I noticed that some people were uncomfortable in here. And if your knees aren't touching the ground, then use blocks or some kind of support or pillows or whatever underneath your knees, and that might make you feel a lot more comfortable in this position. Just so happens that my body is, there's a lot of things it can't do, but it can do this one. And before we move out of butterfly, flap your wings a little bit because it's a fun way to have rhythm. And then we're gonna keep our right leg in half butterfly. If you want the block there still, that's great. And the left leg straight. So I'm gonna push sideways for you to see. So this is basically runner's stretch. And again, the active left leg, toes pointed towards the sky, pressing in with the heel, pressing in the calf, pressing in with the thigh, down with the thigh. And if you want to, lean forward over your extended leg. You're welcome to grab your strap. And again, another hamstring stretch. Notice where your torso is. Is it over the extended leg? Is it halfway in between the two legs? Maybe shift the different positions and see how that shifts this, where you feel the stretch. If you can, if you're pretty flexible, you can grab your toe or grab your foot or grab your hands beyond your foot, or for some of you, you can grab your wrist. And for others of us, that's not going to happen. In this one, the legs are the focus, right? So do whatever you need to with your upper body. And go ahead and switch positions, switch sides. So my left leg's in half butterfly, my right leg, it's basically tree pose in a forward fold and on the ground. Every inhale is a little longer spine, and every exhale, your belly is micro moving a little bit closer to your thigh. Okay, and come on out, and our next pose is to counter stretch the forward folds that we just did with the bridge. So you're going to come onto your back, knees bent, bring your heels pretty close to your booty, and then you're going to use your upper arms to push your hips up and make a bridge. Try to keep your knees in line with your hips as opposed to flopping out. Some people can use actually a strap around their thighs to keep their legs from pushing. And go ahead and come down. If you need a wiggle, go ahead. And then we're going to repeat. And this time, just lift your torso just off the ground. So just a couple inches up and hover. And then see if you can relax your butt cheeks. And notice what core muscles need to engage to hold your body upright like this. Or off the ground. And go ahead and come down if you need a wiggle. And then we're going to do a third one. And the third one we're going to raise as high as we can. And for some of you, if you can, roll onto your shoulders. And I know that seems like if you don't know what that means, it's kind of difficult to understand. But it's prep for shoulder stand. So I'm moving my torso so that I can get my shoulders more on the ground, like wrap my arms underneath them. If you can, grab your hands underneath your torso and push up, and you can see it gives me a lot more height than just having my arms next to my sides. And it's a good prep for shoulder stand if that's going to be something in your practice. And one more breath here, and go ahead and lower down. Bring your knees in for a little self massage. And from here, we're going to do our last pose, which is a twist. And either do double knee twist, particularly if you have any lower back issues, or don't do it at all. Stacking both knees and arm out. And if you're pretty flexible, then you grab your right knee, extend your left leg, and bring your right knee all the way over your torso till it hits the ground, and then open your right shoulder back towards the ground. And then go ahead and come on out by bringing both knees back up to vertical and switch sides. Repeat whichever one you did. I'm going to grab my left knee and bring it over my body. And then bring my left shoulder towards the ground. Okay, and then come on up. One final little self-massage. And for our meditation portion today, you can either sit up or remain on your back. Either one, I'm going to sit up. I'm also going to use a block for now. So from either from sitting or from lying down, notice all the points of contact with the ground. Maybe grow a little root system from those points of contact. And the breath I would like you to try is what I call, is called a continuous breath. I mean, it's amazing in our day-to-day moving around how shallow our breath is and how much we hold our breath. So if it's available to you, try to breathe through your nose or sip the air through your mouth and fill your belly and maybe your chest as well. And then not holding it, immediately start your exhale as soon as you're full. And as soon as you're completely empty, turn it around and start your inhale. So it's continuous breath, deep, trying to be belly breaths if that's something you can do, but without pause or holding. Fill and empty, empty and fill. If you're counting or want to try counting, try to have an even count on your inhales and your exhales. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Notice the attention to your center. And one more cycle of breath. And find your favorite Shavasana position. I'm going to stay sitting and I'm actually going to move forward. And today was about yoga as a resource and a source of self-care. There are an infinite number of resources, and a resource is anything that makes you feel safe and supported. For you, it might be a color or thinking of a person. Anything that makes you feel safe and supported. And what might be a resource for you might be a trigger for someone else. So I tried to review some of the more common resources that a larger group of people seem to find helpful. noticing your breath. Finding a rhythm. Grounding, noticing your connection to whatever you're standing or sitting or lying on. Centering, noticing your core, tapping into your inner strength and power, control. And orienting, which is all about being present, knowing where you are now. Using your senses. And for some people, using all of your senses is overwhelming, so maybe try one. What are you listening to, hearing right now? Go ahead and start to lengthen your breathing again. Maybe wiggle fingers or toes. Maybe do wrist circles or ankle circles. Stretch if you feel like it. And gently and kindly bring yourself back up to sitting. And I hope you were able to find a resource or two that worked for you in self-care. And may the inner light in you reflect the inner light in me. Namaste.